Do you know if you're deficient in vitamin G? I bet you haven't heard that one, have you? No, it's not a legit vitamin like vitamin D. We hear a lot lately about vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin G is for grounding or earthing. I'm talking a lot about this, and many of you, maybe you're like, la, 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 la. You've been tuning out when I talk about it. Please tune in and hear me, sister. So back in the day, let's say 12, 13, maybe even 14 years ago, in LA, our holistic doctor, you've heard me talk about him, Dr. Edward Lauren, he would tell us to go walk on the grass. We all lived on this huge compound in Beverly Hills. So our dog, our furry baby Zoe at the time, was the only dog walking on this grass. And we were mindful about the pesticides and things like that, fertilizers. There's this beautiful patch of grass. And Doc would say, hey, you guys, if you can't get down to Santa Monica and go walk the beach, you've got to walk barefoot every day for a few minutes. So when I would go and walk Zoe around this little patch, I would take my shoes off for a minute and immediately feel better. But back then, I didn't know why. He didn't really explain the importance of it reducing inflammation. So jump to, obviously, this health and wellness program we've been on forever. It's been on the forefront of my mind. And then after my surgery in January, Doc asked me, he said, hey, do you have a grounding mat? And I was like, huh? I never even heard of that. So, I put on my little nerdy glasses, you know how I get, and started Googling, researching, watching videos, and was led to the company called appropriately Earthing. And it was started by the author of this book, Clint Ober. This book is a must if you really want to understand this more in depth. And I posted yesterday on my Instagram stories the interview I did with Dr. Derek De Silva for So Thrive, and he explained it even more than I've gotten to in this book, how the ocean, and that's why you go to the water line, the ocean, the water, you think of the amount of water on this planet. I don't know, it's something crazy. I have to go back and watch it, but is it like 2,500 times a second lightning hits the ocean? So you think of all of the electricity, right? Well, our bodies, believe it or not, we talk about this woo-woo idea of energy a lot, but we are literally made up of and energized and kept healthy by the electrons in our body. Crazy, I know. Yes, warm-blooded mammals, human beings, animals are full of electrons. So back in the day, I know I'm jumping around, but bear with me. Back in the day, Doc Lauren would say, go walk on the water line, not the dry part where the tide is coming up. Make sure you walk on that. And he described it as the negative ions. So the word negative, I know, sounds negative, but in this instance, the negative ions that you receive, it literally goes into your body, detoxes, pulls out the bad stuff. And I believe Dr. De Silva explained that as well. So that's why you want to go to the beach. Even when you go to the mountains, you're actually earthing. If you saw, my sister and I met for her birthday in December, and I took her to Sedona, and we took our shoes off, and I could not wait because I know the electricity, the red rock, the minerals that are in the mountainous areas, like especially Sedona, that we were going to feel so good. We actually laid down. Not just took our shoes off, but we actually laid down. And taking it a step further, I learned that you can lean up against a tree. And again, this is not woo-woo stuff. Like Dr. De Silva said, this is scientific. So when I go on my walks now, the little area that I walk here close to home, if I have the time and if I remember, because I don't want to take my shoes off there. I don't know the pesticides and things that they're putting on in that little park. I would love to be able to take my shoes off, but no. So I actually take the time to lean up against the tree, and I'm listening to a podcast, and I'll lean up against a tree or sit down and laying up against a tree. I'm not kidding. You feel so good. You feel it energetically, vibrationally, electrically. You feel awake. So after this surgery, going back, Doc Lauren said, Doc knows, we're in Texas now. We knew him when we lived in LA. He knows that I don't have access to a beach. I'm landlocked here. So, and we live in a townhome and I don't have a backyard. So if you have your own backyard where you can control the pesticides and the things that go on your grass, and you don't have some big, huge dog going potty. But even if you do, if you could, you know, even if you have a big dog, mark off and put a barrier or something so you literally can walk on the grass, put your feet to the earth. The other day, I was feeling really crappy. I went and walked barefoot up and down the front on the cement. So I clarified that with Dr. De Silva when I met him, and he's like, yes, even walking, putting our bare feet on cement, you will receive the electrons, the electromagnetic energy from the earth, right? Why? So when I had my surgery and Dr. Lauren did my bioterrain test and looked at everything going on in my body, he was like, you are in really high inflammation. And I've had high inflammation before in my life, and I didn't really pay attention to it, you know, until you get that wake up call. So back in the day, even when I was drinking heavily, about 5 years ago, and I was very stressed out, I was getting arthritic in my hands, and that was really scary to me. And I don't even think I told Aaron because I didn't want to speak life into it. I wanted to, I don't want to acknowledge this, but I thought it was maybe I was on the computer too much. I was getting achy everywhere, you know, and I have scoliosis, so I always deal with some back pain, but my knees were crickety, and the hands really kind of scared me because my mom has arthritis, my grandmother had arthritis. So it's inflammation, and we can control it, and we can reduce it in our bodies with our diet, with lowering our stress, with things like grounding. So really quickly, all that to tee you up, to set the foundation of why I got the mat and why I'm in my pajamas. So I just took a photo, and I thought, you know what, I'll just do a video as well. So I lay, if you can see, barefoot. Skin to skin is actually better. Bring it back up to my face. And it plugs in to a grounding, a special plug into the wall. And it treats your body as if you're actually walking on the beach or on the grass. It is the coolest thing. Thank you, Clint Ober. You know, we can bring nature indoors, and it is for our healing. It is for that prevention that we always talk about on My Wellness by Nature. It is about cultivating wellness, and instead of getting to the point like me, you know, I've been sharing all these things like what not to do with my health all those years, abusing my body and the high stress levels and abusing drugs and alcohol and things like that. I'm having to take all this time now to reverse it. So in my meditation chair, my spirit spot here in the sanctuary, every morning now, I got the earthing mat after all my Googling, found the earthing company, and that's how I start my day. And then I looked at all of their products, and they have an actual sleep mat for the bed, like a sleep sheet, a grounding sheet. And Aaron is a terrible sleeper. He's that artist that has songs in his head. He gets the mind crank at 3 a.m., all of that. So I'm always looking for ways and different supplements to help him with his sleep. So we put one on the bed. We've probably had it about a month and a half, 6 weeks now. And more frequently, Aaron's like, babe, I slept all the way through. And it's like a victory. Sleep is everything. If we are not sleeping, we are staying in a state during the day of that fight or flight. If we do not get that recuperative sleep, our cortisol levels are all screwed up, especially now You know, my friend Marcia, she's a plant-based health coach. She talks about it all the time, that sleep, I think she said it on the So Thrive Live that I did with her. Her number one 5 to thrive was sleep. It's so overlooked. We think it's a pill we pop, a supplement, the new craze, bulletproof coffee. You know, now it's like adding the mushroom powders to your coffee or whatever, when it is sleep. So it's a victory when Aaron can sleep all the way through. So we've got the mat on the bed. I start every day. And then if I'm on my computer down at my desk in the living room, because you're touching, you know, laptop, your fingers are literally touching the device. You know, I've mentioned about the phone, how I put a case on my phone now, because I do believe that the skin cancer, and it's proven, I'm not just like thinking it, I'm not just like psychosomatically thinking it, it is legit real. All of these negative EMFs and radiation coming at us, we have got to detox our body from it. So my hand is literally touching the mouse on the computer, on the laptop. So I sit with the grounding mat underneath my desk with bare feet, and it helps tremendously. So I want to leave you with this. So this earthing book, you know, a book is going to be good when you have not even gotten to chapter 1. You're just in the foreword and you're like, okay, that's all I need. So good. So it says, in short, earthing restores and maintains the human body's most natural electrical state, which in turn promotes optimal health and functionality in daily life. The primordial natural energy emanating from the earth is the ultimate anti-inflammatory and the ultimate anti-aging medicine, sister. Ultimate anti-aging medicine. So remember, when you're in high inflammation, your body is fighting. It cannot function. So you will age. You will age faster. It's also when you think of the oxidizing of our cells. So when you're reducing inflammation, you are healing the cells. You're actually, it's like anti-aging. So think of it from a beauty aspect as well. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show y'all, these are photographic images of high inflammation. Can you see that? The red, and then after earthing. How amazing is that? So all of these autoimmune disorders, a lot of them are coming from the coming about more frequently over these years because of high inflammation, extreme stress, trauma that women are not dealing with. The autoimmune disorders are rampant. And I truly believe it's the combination of all of that. I've worked with enough women now and coached enough women that are dealing with lupus, fibromyalgia, arthritis is an autoimmune situation. So think about it, check earthing out. We can do this naturally indoors now, but the best is literally what God gave us. It's the planet, and just taking your shoes off and making it part of your daily routine, your wellness protocol, just like you do going to your yoga class. If you have put meditation, now I can combine it together and start my day like this. So it's one more thing, but I don't have to think about it, right? Because I'm sitting on it and my skin's touching, or when we're sleeping. And we woke up this morning, we went to bed really early because of the rain and just being sleepy. And we both woke up, we're like, oh my gosh, for us to sleep till 6:30, I know that for some of y'all, you're like, no, we start getting restless about 5 a.m. and get out of bed. And those mornings when you wake up groggy and you feel like you haven't slept, and it flat out sucks, and your day gets started off bad, right? So we've been in this adrenal healing as well. So the cortisol, so you add in this being able to sleep, because you're literally overnight reducing the inflammation in your body. It's awesome. So love you girls. I'm always bringing this to you because I've implemented it into my life, and I want everyone to feel better so they can thrive in life and get out there and just, there's nothing worse than feeling crickety. You know, a girlfriend of mine, we went on a walk. We're exactly the same age. Had a beautiful walk last week, and we're like, we're just getting started. I mean, literally, if we live to be 85, like, we are in the prime of our lives right now. So this hormones, the menopause, she also went through menopause early. She actually just had a hysterectomy. You know, so women are getting hysterectomies really young, and, you know, life is not over. And I know when you don't feel good and you have chronic pain, which is from the inflammation, you feel like, oh my gosh, you start living with slight depression because you're always just in pain. So that's what I want for all of us, is to live pain-free emotionally and physically, right? To live in freedom in our body and freedom in our spirit. All right. Love y'all.